You can hear me, right?
Yep, all good, Tony.
Good.
How are you been?
Not bad, not bad. I'm actually dog sitting three dogs now for the next two days, and they had me charmed. If I didn't have the alarm set up for it, I would have slipped right on through your meeting.
Oh, okay, interesting. You're doing a lot of pooper
Sorry,
scooping.
I'm awake now.
All good. All good. So a couple of things have been going on this week. I've been just hit the record. I'm sure I did. Yeah, I did. So
Yep,
I
you did it.
yeah, I did. So I've been helping out a client, and the simple reason I'm doing it for a testimonial. I'm helping a client out with some Google Ads work. Hey Tony, I can see it.
Yeah.
Um, and Google Ads, I've always said, has the best data. If you want to know, at least from a back end point of view, how many searches there are a month, you can get that data out of Google Ads. It's probably one of the more accurate. You do have to have an active Google Ads account, which they've made you do to have an account. But it does give you the best possible, the idea of the numbers, of the volume. Nothing, and I had this discussion with an SEO guy person this week. All the numbers and all the data and all the tools are really guesses. Um, Anything Google Ads is done in retroactively. So literally it's the data from last year, but it's the best outline you've got, the best idea you've got of what that data is. So if I had a best case scenario, I'd like to have a client who's running Google Ads first, and I did this on my keyword research as well. But the simple fact is, when you work backwards from the actual data that is converted, then the idea is you shouldn't actually have to compete with big major players. Um, when you do that, you can set Google Ads to do what they call exact match, which means it'll only show up when that ad runs for that exact search term. So I'm doing one at the moment for later on next week, and I'm using the term, and it's in little brackets, which is Google Ads account management. So my ad will only show up for when those search terms are searched within Google. It won't show up any other time. But that gives you, imagine in the best case scenario, you run that ad for one day and you run it for the maximum for your location, which may be $100. And the end of that day, you've got a pretty good idea what the actual volume is per day, at least the best case scenario. So that's where you use it. It costs a little bit of money to confirm it, but it can save you a whole lot of work in the long run. And I've gone through, there's a start of a course called Google Ads Management in the classroom area. If you guys haven't checked out the classroom and the other classes there, just click on the classroom link at the top and it'll show you the other things. I'm going to update that this week as well. But the interesting thing was, and this is where it really comes into it. I've worked with clients before and they said, oh, look, I'm ranking, but I'm not getting any more leads or I'm not getting any more business. And I go and take a look at the website, and in some cases, the design wasn't up to a point that the trust factor wasn't there. In other cases, they weren't measuring it properly. And in this case, it was a matter of it not being set up properly. And it simply put, I like to track things really simply. And even though I explained this, I thought everyone knew this, but sometimes I don't realize it. So simple fact, when you on the site, there were on the actual contact page, and you can have a look at the site. It's called stoneheadstones.co.nz. You can have a look at that after the call. But there are on the contact us page. So the first thing was there are a lot of fields to fill out, a lot of form fields to fill out on the page. So that's the first thing. Okay, do you need everything on the first contact? Um, but that's the thing that's up for debate, up for testing. So they were selling headstones, so they need all the contact details. But would you necessarily ask for that straight up, or would you want a contact phone number for them to ring you back? So there's something that's worth testing. Um, but that's a little bit out of this one. But the simple fact is on that page you can on the contact us page, you can click on the email address, you can click on the phone number. I think it's got social media links on there as well. So there's a lot of decisions that you can make. And when you have a lot of decisions, I use the term when you give person a lot of decisions, they would rather do nothing and not make a mistake than fill out the wrong thing. So the idea is people go, oh, it's a big form, and they just don't want to fill it out. Now you have to balance out. You have to balance that out a little bit. How much information do you want first? The difference between a quality lead and someone who's just filled out a form. There's also the other element was, so this is the part that surprised me, and even I've had trouble getting it through the web development company. When you fill out a form, and sometimes you'll fill out a form on a website and it'll pop up saying that's been received, and nothing will change on the page. Now, what I found is people tend to submit those forms more than once, so that's a problem because again, it's the same thing over and over. But the simplest thing is it makes it hard to track anything. Yes, there's if you get on the team call with the team technical, they can actually the AdWords team, they'll actually walk you through it. But the most simple way to do it is, and I see this being underused, is simply having a thank you page. When you fill out a form, you go to another page and it says, thank you for filling out the form. We've got your information. That's also a good time to put testimonials or anything else on that page to build trust. But when you have the simple process of going from one form to another page, it makes it all simple to track. And where stone headstones have gone wrong is I could look back on their data a year ago, and this was showing the actual data, but then someone who didn't know what they were doing had edited the website, and then the actual data wasn't showing any conversions. Now, I know that's not true. So the data was wrong for starters, and it was just should be a simple fix. But they seem to struggle with that, and I had to write out what they had to give to the web development, which I've done a few times. Is sometimes you've got to put it in language that they understand and they know what to do. And I think that's just my technical brain picking up on that. So we've got Google Ads running for this site. They have an idea. It was interesting. I found out talking to him that a lot of his sales come from the islands, Samoa, Rarotonga, these little island areas which are off New Zealand. So I didn't know that. Sometimes you don't realize as a business owner what your information you have about your market is. So that was interesting. But again, the data said it wasn't working. And the only reason I say this is because it wasn't reporting conversions. It wasn't reporting anybody filling out a form. And yet he knew there was. So that's where sometimes you've got to have a mind over the top. Now, like I said, I had to write it out what he had to give to his web development company to send it to them. And so that was one part. I've been trying to fix this for a while. The guy doesn't want to necessarily have anything to do with it because Google Ads can get quite complicated, and also I think agencies do overcomplicate it. So they say, "Oh, it's too hard. We'll just give it them to do it." But really, there's really a lot of things you can report on in Google Ads which make it complicated. But really, if you keep to the points that you want, and what do you want from a site? You want leads? Do you want to fill people to fill out a form? Those simple things are actually what you need, and then you've got to make sure that the messaging connects. So all that means is if the ad said black cats, then it landed on a page with black cats, and there was a minimal amount of action to take to become a lead. And that's just simply ways of just making it simple. Sometimes I think humans overcomplicate things. I really do, just to make them look more important. So that's been my lessons for this week. And what you can do then is like I said, if I started off with exact match, when you've got an exact match keyword and you know that exact match keyword converts to leads, then you can decide, define your Google Ads around it. You can define your SEO around it because now you've got not what everybody thinks you should be ranking for, and this is website owners, this is clients, this is SEO companies, a whole lot. It's actually what you've got that took the action that you want. Um, People don't really want SEO. They actually want what SEO will give them, and that's where it comes down to it. So, between the two of you, have you got any questions going on this week? Anything you'd like me to cover?
No, nothing I can really think of.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I come up this week, I was even talking to a technical person, and he talked about, oh, you can fill out the keywords tab. Now, keywords relates to meta keywords, which you supposedly put on your back of your website. Now, Google's ignored them for about the last, let's say, 15 years plus, but these things are still built into software. And every time you see, and you can Google this, actually went wrong when this is a story for anybody in America who will probably understand this. When the White House ranked for number one, and I believe it was, I can't remember which president it was, ranked number one for miserable failure. And that was because someone had over, overpicked the keywords, and then they'd also linked to the site with miserable failure. And yeah, Google stepped in. Yeah, that was quite funny too, Tony, but Google's not going to let that happen. So that's the keywords
No,
end of it. But it was quite a laugh back when you could do things like that.
it was some time back, but for a long while there was at least a couple of months there was a site that was up called the White House, and it was a porn site.
Oh
That
yeah,
one disappeared too. So I guess Google got rid of that one. You Google the White House and you risk landing on the porn site, right?
yeah, and Reddit actually that's one thing. Actually, Reddit did really well out of the last update, and an e-commerce guy that I follow was really depressed yesterday because he runs an e-commerce site, which does really well out of did really well out of the last updates. But his purely content site, and this is his theory, which he's been running for in excess of 12 years and has got 300 posts on it. It got basically got dropped down in Google's results. And his theory was that AI is generating a lot of content. AI can be broadly put in the box of people just generating content sites, and which is quite a possible problem. And he's saying that Google has dropped or punished everyone in that model. You've imagined it like you put them in that certain box that you're just creating a content site, and it may clean itself up over time, but yeah, the ones that are doing well are the e-commerce sites with blogs because those make common sense. Um, so yeah, that's all I've got for this week. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I'm heading out to do some things. But have a look in the classroom. Make sure you guys have checked out the other lessons that are in there. The classroom link is at the top of the school group. Have a look at the other ones in there. The Google Ads for service businesses is something I'm updating. And even if you've got someone that could be a fit for who wants Google Ads in your location, talk to me if you want me to work your joint venture where you bring the client in and I help them out with their Google Ads. You get credit for it, and I help them out, and they jump on a call like this. And always referring people is always an interesting thing. I'm happy to jump on the call with them and with you if you can refer them in, and then we'll walk through what they're after and understand it. But that's it for me. I said, jump on the group. Thanks, Richard. Have a good weekend, you guys, and I'll leave it to it.
All right, take care.
See ya, you too.
Take care. Bye bye.
See you, Richard.